Okay, I want to share with you how to do stop losses, or at least how I do stop losses. A stop loss is to prevent a major loss, and basically, you'd rather take a loss than take a major loss. And so, what you do is one order cancels the other. What that means is, if the price goes where you want it to go, you put in an order for a limit. If it hits that limit, that you exit, and if it doesn't hit that order but instead goes the other direction, then it hits your stop loss. Then you'll take a loss, but if you don't want to take a major loss, so you say how much are you ready to risk, and that's where you set your stop loss. One of the problems with getting doing this type of trading is that sometimes you stop loss out too soon. And so what I'm trying to do is catch the opening gap or the opening spike or the opening trade, because that's where you can make the most money. That's where most day traders trade. And so what you do is you exit or enter the trade. This dash line here, that's the end of a day, beginning of one day. This other dash line right there, end of one day, beginning of day. So what you do is you enter at the end of a day. You either buy or short sell, and then at the first bar or first hour of the day, you try to exit it. So at the end of this day, you enter, and then you put an order in. Your one order cancels the other in, so that the next day hopefully it will either hit what you hope for, or if it doesn't, it'll do a stop loss. So what I normally do is I do a 2% stop loss. Okay. And but in this case, it wasn't big enough, because what happened for this particular stock, the stock normally hits a greater than 2% stop loss. So you really need to, for stocks like this, you need to figure out what the stop loss is, and set. It has to be bigger than what the normal average or worst case stop loss over the last 10 days is. In this case, this bar right here represents what the real average stop loss for the stock is over the last 10 days. And this is a 3%, 3.1%. This data, a 3% stop loss data, comes from up here, this little table up here. Notice it says 2.4%, 3.1%, 3.1%. So you would use the 3.1% data to set your stop loss. So in this case, in this trade, I'm doing what they call a short sell. I'm entering here, and I'm hoping the price will go down. What happened? It did the opposite of what I wanted to do. It went up. Eventually came down a day later down to this price, where if I want to stop loss up here, right there, then it would have come back down and hit that one. So what did I do? What did I do wrong? I set the stop loss at 2%. It should have been up here at 3.1%. Now, you might think 3.1% is too big a risk. You don't want to lose 3% ever. Well, in this case, you shouldn't have made this trade. You should have picked another stock like, I don't know, AMD is a popular one. Anyways, this is like a 1.3% stop loss. My methodology, I usually make 8 of 9 or 7 of 8 successes. So anyways, so if I make a stop loss 1 out of 8 times, I can lose 1%, 2% easy, no problem, if I only do it 1 out of 8 tries. Hope that makes sense. Now let me explain again. Here's this purple line is my entrance price, or this right here, this line right there. That's where I actually entered in that day. I hope to get a 0.25%. So this was my limit, and this was my actual stop loss. So what I could have done was like I did, had a limit here, left it alone. It would have hit right there, boom, which is the first bar of the next day. And what I should have done was set the stop loss up here, because that's the 3.1%. But I went down here and it hit the stop loss first, and so I lost 2% of the money. I want to explain why the next day the price went down to this price. It has to do with this, what I call support line. You need to know what a support line is and a resistance line, otherwise you shouldn't be trading. But if you go to the previous day, you see right here, the price goes up, comes back down, hits the support line, up, down, up, down. It just several bars in a row it hits the stop line, and that's called a support line. So what happened? From here on, when people are buying, right, all these guys are buying, thinking the price is going to go up, and or the price is going to go down, one or the other. And when it doesn't go the way they want, they got their money and they're taking a loss. They think the money's, and so what happens is these guys are all trapped, and so eventually when the price goes down, they have orders in to sell, so that they become untrapped. Well, hope that makes sense, and catch you next time.